welcome to BandChat with Royal Oak. I am Brayson. I am your host for today, and with me I have Miles.
Hello.
I have Michael.
Hello.
I have Austin.
Hello.
And I have our special guest today, Tom Vanderkam.
What's good, guys? What's good?
Oh, you know, just chilling, just having a conversation.
Your
thank
voice.
you so much for joining us, Tom.
This is cool, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, I can't get over it. It's just like because you have like such a baritone voice in comparison to the rest of us. So like we're all just like, hi, how's it going? And you're like, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm like, oh, boy,
Chills.
I'll try not to mansplain over you guys in my low ranges.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, for those of you who don't know Tom, he is the singer, guitar player of Hawking, a local. What genre would you classify yourself as?
Metal.
Just metal. Okay, yeah, I love that.
Fuck
It's
it.
easy. Aside from that, he's also quite the entrepreneur and producer, as you can see from his setup in his home studio. Tom, talk about yourself.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, yeah, man. I most of the people listening to this probably know me because I play in Hawking, which is like prog metally, melodic metal type stuff. So that's a really fun thing to do. And then aside from that, I love like making all kinds of fucking music. I love fucking hip hop and jazz, and I've been making a lot of both of those lately, or trying to at least. And I'm also a psychology major, so I've been eating absolute shit the last like 2-3 semesters, like just trying to balance learning all of that with the music. So that's been a good time. And other than that, like I don't know, man. I'm like a farm boy or whatever turned artist, and you called me an entrepreneur. I always squirm when people call me an entrepreneur, but I guess that is fundamentally what I am. So yeah, that's a bit about me. I don't know, man.
That's pretty good.
Great to start on. I do have a very important question.
Oh sure, man, shoot.
And now we usually start our episodes with an icebreaker.
All right.
And normally we talk about it so everyone gets ready. But you will have the time for us to tell our thing for you to figure out yours. Okay. So the icebreaker is, what was your preteen, what band was your preteen obsession?
Okay.
Okay, so I'll choose Miles, go first.
My preteen obsession. Oh man, I had a few. I did have a few, but my true preteen obsession, it had to be Green Day. I mean, American Idiot dropped and everyone lost their shit when in grade 2, you know, it's just what happened. That's all. And then after I listened to American Idiot, I bought like all of their CDs, like all the way back to 1039 Smooth Slappy Hours, I think it's called, their first album.
Jeez.
Like I bought all the albums. So mine's Green Day for sure.
Man, remember buying albums?
I know.
That's OG, man. That's real OG.
It is OG.
Mike, what's yours?
Well, I was gonna say Green Day.
I mean, we
But
can
I'll
have the
take-
same answer.
We can't have the same answer. It's Green Day. I wore out my American Idiot CD. Like I was like 9 years old, yelling, whatever, what the fucking lyrics are. It's all just like, I was like, fuck George Bush as like a 10-year-old. Yeah, that's it. I love that shit.
Great, I love it. Austin?
Well, when I was young, I didn't really actually have much of a music taste. I always listened to what everyone else listened to. I didn't really have any sort of individualism because, you know, I was like 7. So, you know,
As a
you don't
preteen,
have.
you were 7?
Or sorry, are we talking about like? But hold on. American
Right, I
Idiot
did
was
say
like
that.
when we were like 8 or 9 or some shit like that. So.
Just roll with whatever your
go.
first
That's
obsession
true.
was.
Yeah, either way. When I was young, my favorite band at the time was like the Whitest of the White. I loved Dave Matthews Band.
Oh my
Bro.
God, you did.
I did.
But
I mean,
hey,
that shit slaps.
Carter Beauford on the drums.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Come on.
Mhm. Yeah, it was like, yeah, Crash is still like such a big album for me. Like, oh god. Yeah, fucking Trippin' Billy's like number 41, Crash Into Me. Like all it's such a good record. I still love it.
This
That's
is
the
going
most
way over my head.
Yeah, it's the most grown up preteen obsession.
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, damn man.
Truly though. I was listening to the Jonas Brothers and
the Jonas Brothers, they still slap.
they slap
I guess
again.
not.
They like
No, they do. I'll vouch for that, man. Like their band fucking slaps as hell. Like
Oh,
those
yeah.
drums. What the drums on? What track is it? Burning Up.
Burning up.
The
Yo,
drums
yeah.
on Burning
The
Up are like
bass.
the most fire. The ghost notes are the most fire ghost notes I've ever heard. It's like gospel chops the whole way through. It's so good.
It
It's
is,
so tight.
truly.
That's true. Ghost Notes. I need to listen closer to that song on the drums. I
That
think.
song slaps. Go listen to it.
Yeah, we should cover it.
Yeah.
Yo,
Um,
shout out to the Jonas Brothers if they're listening to this.
I'm sure they are.
We're going to cover you and it's going to be awful.
Big fans.
I guess my obsession, and it's still my current obsession, and I don't know what that says about me or if it says something about the band, but it's My Chemical Romance. I feel like people are gonna hear that and be like, makes sense.
Probably. Yeah, that's been your. I mean, that's the first song you ever learned on the bass guitar.
That's true. The bass guitar, the Beatle. Okay, Tom, what was your obsession?
Probably System of a Down.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I had a homie show me System of a Down in like 7th grade, and I remember listening to Serge Tankian's vocal, and he was just making fucking whack noises, and I was like, "This is tight. This slaps. This fucking slaps." He's just like, I'm like, yeah. No, that's dope. That's dope. It speaks to me. And but legitimately, like they use a lot of like Middle Eastern scales, and my family's Ukrainian, and Middle Eastern music and Slavic traditional music is like very, very close.
Yeah.
Like they're using the same scales. So
Yeah, it's right in there.
I didn't realize when I was listening to System of a Down how weird it was. I was like, this is just music. Like this is just normal people metal music. And then as I got to know like the standards of the genre, I was like 11 years old when I heard System. So, and that's like LimeWire days, right? Like you would download shit and it wouldn't even be the band that it is. So like,
Yeah.
I hadn't, formulated what I knew was out there for metal. You don't go to shows when you're 11. You don't know what the standards are of like, just conventions for the genre. So they were bringing in just weird shit, and I was with it. I totally vibed with it. So I think that was like, looking back, I think I was so obsessed with it because it was weird enough for me. Like I was I was a weird kid, so I needed something that spoke to me in a way that was like, I don't know, these are just like whack, tense sounds that shouldn't make sense, but they do. And
Makes sense. It makes sense.
That's actually that's I really like that choice. It feels so much, I don't know, not to diss the Green Day, but it's just kind of like I don't know, dude. Like I've always known you as like a guy who's very like artsy, not in like a pretentious fuck kind of way, but like you just appreciate art. And so you being like, my obsession was like System of a Down because X and Y, and I'm like, it just makes sense. It totally right.
It wouldn't have occurred to me at the time, as an 11-year-old. And to be fair, to give your Green Day devil his due, I think I did get into American Idiot as that was one of the first albums that made me go like, oh fuck, like this feels like powerful,
Yeah, totally.
When you're in like 6th grade and you're like trying to be a rambunctious youngin' and you keep getting like put in a box by school and whatnot, it's like, I think every 10, 11-year-old is like, has American Idiot in there, as a foundational album, and I certainly did too. But I got into that first, and then I remember hearing shit like System and being like, oh, like there's just so much weirder shit out there, and I think I liked it being I wanted to be a little bit on the edge even as like a 7th grader. I kind of wanted to be, dude, when I was in 5th grade, we had these 2 weeks where it was really, really rainy, and it was so rainy that the kids were like coming in and mucking up the classroom. And so they said, okay, everybody has to stay indoors. So we were all like sitting at our little pods of desks. They had them arranged in like groups of 4. And very quickly I ended up running like a blackjack ring.
As you
Of
do.
course. Yeah.
Because everyone's inside, so I'm like, this is like a captive, like. So whoever called me an entrepreneur, I guess, you know, I guess I can't run from it, because there I was starting a casino at my desk in 5th grade.
There you go.
But no, man, I liked to like fuck around and be on the edges and be like, you know, you didn't think a 5th grader was gonna start a blackjack ring, but I did. And that's probably the art. That's the equivalent of what System of a Down did for me.
What a
Okay.
great
It's so funny
answer.
because you always hear about how like metal music is like such a bad influence for our youth, and you're just like the poster child for that.
So
Metal
we
was
have
a shit influence on me. When I look back, if I like, man, I shouldn't have taken so much advice from like skateboarders and metal musicians. That would have done me good.
So I think the best way to sum this up is we have a bunch of anti-war middle schoolers, and then we got the con man, and then we got Brayson, who was
fuck.
just sad, and then I was just the white guy. So
Yeah, checks out.
You were
The,
just like
the
a
uncle
dad.
as a preteen.
well, I walk over to Tom like in elementary school, just like, you winning, son? He's dealing blackjack.
Well, like,
So-
we were betting like erasers and pencils and random shit, and then but very quickly it escalates to like a book or like your jacket, and
Yeah,
then like
that's-
it became a problem really fast because kids were betting like their fucking, you know,
Their
like lunch
shoes.
and school supplies and shoes. Yeah, it was
They
like
go home, you're like, Mom, I need $20.
I'm like, I didn't mean to do that. I did that because of Futurama. Bender was a shit influence on 5th grade me, man. I was like,
Oh,
blackjack
yeah.
is the thing to do. So
Futurama and Family Guy and all those shows.
genuinely bad influences. Like the 90s mothers were right. Like
It's true. It's true.
So
Look
Tom,
at us now. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, yeah, okay. Well, we're gonna cut that out anyway.
oh, so you guys do edit for brevity. Oh, that's sweet. Shit as fuck.
We don't actually. We don't. This is gonna be the first time.
We
I
edit.
fucking hate you so much.
Anyway, I was gonna say this is like the first time you're meeting Mike, and I guess like the first time in half a decade that you're talking to some of us, hey?
Mm-hmm.
Because we met at the Media Club in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think that we've actually like crossed paths. I know you and I have like once per year or something like that,
Yeah, yeah.
but the rest of the guys haven't actually crossed paths with you ever. Can you guys speak on that?
I did once. We were in the basement of Celebrities, and Saul was doing a like a guitar fill-in spot for an
Yeah,
electronic
yeah.
artist
Oh,
that I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember the
Juno
name of.
Fest. That was like, yeah, we probably talked for 5 minutes over incredibly loud music. And yeah.
Just nodded, and we're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is sick. Yeah, it's fucking really loud. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but it's wild because it feels like it kind of feels like we know you, like more than you would expect
cool.
people to know each other, only meeting once.
So that's really interesting for me because I went in with that feeling as well to
Mhm.
this.
Yeah,
And I was sort of like, why would I feel like they know me? And I'm like, well, I've been in the past somewhat of a public person, certainly by many people's standards, and I've gotten more private lately because of just what I've been focused on.
right.
But I do find that interesting that yeah, it's like I was preparing for this podcast on my I'm like, I want to ask you guys questions. I want to get to know what the fuck about your backgrounds.
Yeah. I feel like a big part of it is just, I mean, honestly, social media, right? Because
Oh, totally.
we just keep tabs on the people who are in the music industry, and it's like, oh, look at what Hawkins getting up to. Like, oh, they just dropped this EP or this LP. And then I feel like that's how we feel like we know you is because it's just in the chatter. Like we're like, oh, you hear
That
this
makes
new
sense.
Hawking song, you hear this new Hawking LP.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's what it stems from. Truly.
Yeah.
Like, especially in this industry, I think, because it's. Oh, I dropped my microphone. Because it's like with this industry, it's who you know, and I feel like Vancouver has such a weird music scene that like
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
just end up knowing everyone,
I was gonna
even if
say
you don't know them.
It's crazy how we met by playing a show together when we were, I guess, somewhat in the same realm of genre.
Right.
And then
right.
we both took like completely different paths.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
both like indie rock-ish, like a little bit aggressive indie rock for sure.
Yeah,
like, and we were
ambience.
like math rock shit.
Mhm.
we did math a little bit.
Yeah, that's right too. You guys had them. That's right too. That's why I picked you guys out originally that I wanted you guys to open that show in 2015 at Media Club. Was like, oh, these are like one of the only bands in Vancouver doing the mathy shit, which yeah, for you guys became much less of a feature.
Yeah.
Of,
yeah.
of the music.
I mean, math with a grain of salt. We're like,
Yeah.
yeah 7/8.
Yeah.
Hey, we
7/8 can groove. You can still groove that shit. And Miles,
Hey.
I know you know how to make that shit groove.
Oh, I love a good 7/8.
But we both kind of like took different paths, but kind of in the same fashion. Like we both have very independent bands, independently recording and releasing music. Us not as much. As far as my understanding goes, you guys did all your music yourself, like engineering, production, and mixing, and then you just sent it off for mastering. Is that correct?
yeah, that's accurate.
And is that the same thing on the first EP?
Yeah, the first EP, I actually kind of mastered it. I've never admitted this publicly. I mastered it. I wasn't supposed to, but I pre-mastered it before we sent it to mastering, and then it was mastered again. Is how that works. But because I didn't trust. We were so. It was a very like isolated process what we were doing back in like 2014 2015.
Right.
So yeah, like we really did do everything ourselves, and it was, and I don't regret like fucking around with the mastering, by the way. I'm not saying like, oh, I didn't do that proper and that was done. I'm actually like, oh, that was foundational to the Hawking EP. Like there's production stuff on there that is so jank that sounds so right that and like we were so limited back then too. Like
Oh, yeah.
it was like dirt cheap preamps and everything, like the cheapest 8-channel interface for recording drums, that we
Yeah.
could get. So, and like the room was literally like insulation. It was this room.
It was
but
that
it was
room. Wow.
Oh.
before I finished it into this. It was literally like blankets on the walls and like foam and like Roxol and shit. But yeah, so that process for the EP was super in the like literally mastering the outsourcing mastering was just they ran it through their chain.
Right.
And
Okay.
then Diverge was a much cleaner record production wise because we did everything by the book at Chris's. And then so we sent those mixes off for mastering, and it was really cohesive, but for my taste at least, it sacrificed a lot of the grit and the
Right.
the happenstance, spontaneous creativity that comes from like we don't have the stuff to do that right. Like
Right.
like we've got to make that work. Like in Safe and Sound, the intro sections and choruses have this like sonar blip that's like hey, and what that is Chart standing at the end of the hall going hey through autotune,
No way. That's
layered with like
awesome.
a bing, like just a fucking
Yeah.
Pro Tools stock sample. And yeah, so like that, I loved that jank creative process
Mhm.
that we had with the EP, and not to like Diverge is just like such a monument to compromise, I think, as any self-producing band's first record sort of ends up being.
Right.
But it's so interesting because, and even you've told me this, Brayson, and a lot of people come up to us and they tell us that the production on Diverge, how clean it was, how punchy it was. I mean, you pull up the waveform, you can see how the transients poke through. It's a very punchy, clean album. People go, oh, like that's like foundational for what we thought was good production. Like local bands have told us, like, you guys, like, you know, we listened to your production on Diverge and we wanted to do something that sounded like that.
Mhm.
So it's a real testament to like the artist doesn't get to decide what is dope about the art. It's so up to the audience. So I
Yeah,
don't remember
that's-
what the original question was, but that's my take on that.
That's
that was
totally
good.
true, though.
Yeah.
That's a perfect segue because I mean that's what we want to talk about was self-production, because that's currently the realm that we've we've technically self-produced all of our stuff. We just haven't like
Not-
engineered and recorded it all.
Yeah, not to
ourselves.
this extent. I guess this is our first. It's our first venture into doing everything ourselves, aside from mixing and mastering, and having the time to do it ourselves and not have the restraints of a studio has been like tremendous in the creative process, right?
I have that question written down on a piece of paper just out of frame here. It reads, "You guys work a lot in like actual studios. Doesn't that get to be a fucking pain in the ass?"
Yes.
It does in a way. There's pros and cons for sure.
Coming
Yeah.
from self-production McGee, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'm biased, but I wanted to ask you guys that. I always see you guys in like studios, you know?
Well, this
I
is
guess
exactly why we switched.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like
'Cause it's a
everything
pain in the
you just
wallet.
explained and
Right.
like about the creative process and being able to, let the art like speak for itself. It's been a lot more, I don't want to say fun, because like Brayson said, there's pros and cons. You get a good mixing engineer, like shout out to Matty D and like like Jarrett, the guys we've worked with, right? But there's just something different about having more control over everything in terms of the time and like Mike said, your wallet.
yeah,
It's just
Holy
a
fuck.
lot. It's different. It's been really fun though.
yeah.
I will say though that like being in a studio like that, like we did our EP Pretend like fully at Echo Plant, and it was like kind of a treat for ourselves almost, because like we
Right.
had done. I mean, I wasn't in the band when you guys did the first record, but that was like pretty DIY, pretty low budget, and like Younger was also like a lot of that was DIY. So I feel like when we did Pretend, it was like we felt like that was like the next big step as a band, was it's like, oh, like real bands do things
Right.
in a studio, like we shell out and we have our engineer and we have our runner who's gonna go get us a donair every day, and like
Shout
we're
out
gonna spend
to
a
Don
stupid amount of
Ayers.
money,
Shout
but like
out to Chicken Shawarma.
yeah,
The only food, the only tour food, the only studio food, carry on.
exactly. It's the sound of Pretend is donairs. So it's no, but it was kind of like a treat for us. And then I think now that we've like done that and taken a step back, been like, A, that was really expensive, but B, like it's been really freeing to be out of the studio because like there's no rules anymore. And like some of the rules in studios make sense, obviously, but there's nothing that you can't do.
Yeah, you
other
have
than
the
like gear limitations.
you have the time to try whatever you want, and I think that's been the biggest thing that we have loved about working on the latest stuff. And I remember you guys did drums in a studio, right?
Yeah, for Diverge, we did drums at some place called Atlantis Sound. It was like some guy's house that was like when you stepped in the basement, it was an incredible studio. I literally don't know who knew who, but I showed up there and I filmed stuff and I said play that part that way or that way. But yeah, we did do drums there. And I think that was the only part of the record that we didn't do at Chris's. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I guess another part of it for us though was that we didn't really have a space. Like we didn't really have a place
Yeah.
where we could record. I mean, we could technically record in here, but we didn't really have like the gear or anything. And now Austin has set up his home studio. So that's where we've been having a lot of fun, is where he is. Because he's dialed in his home setup. So that was also another barrier as to why I think we didn't go into it earlier, maybe. But
That's kind of the barrier. You know,
exactly.
Not
The
recording
barrier.
at home is not having a studio to record at home in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Definitely.
speaking of home studios, let's talk about your setup there.
Okay.
I've just a brief thing, because I know things get nerdy, and I know you and Austin could probably talk on and on forever about it. But I remember I was there a few months ago with Riley, helping him suss out the Without a Crown screams and shit. And it was such a vibe in that studio. Like, you got the fuckboy lights and everything. It's
Oh, wait, and you built it all yourself too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
how long did that take you?
2.5 years ish. Like 2 years. It's a rolling, like, I'm still fucking, I have fuckboy foam on the wall right now. I have stupid, jagged, weird, asshole, dumbass, doesn't actually do anything good for your acoustics bullshit foam on the wall right now. But upstairs, I've been literally, me and my mom and I have been upholstering panels, like Roxol panels that I'm gonna. So it's a rolling, it's an ongoing project. Like this is my family's home, right? And
Right.
so it's not just this room that got made into a studio, but my living room was thought out as a lobby, not a lobby, but like a chill area, like, you know, when you're at the studio and you fucking go to the little,
Yeah,
like,
totally.
sweet, like, I wanted it to be like, I wanted to have the fucking GameCube and the PS2 and coffee and you know, like everything. I just wanted to have it be a vibe. So I'm really glad to hear that it was a success.
Yeah.
You gotta come over again, because like, it's honestly, like, I was probably at that time that you came over, I probably would have even been like kind of embarrassed because for me, I see all the stuff that I want to do. I'm like, oh, I want the proper,
yeah.
I want the proper treatment, and I want I gotta, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything close to a home studio. I got a couple of iLouds, so I came in and I was like super impressed.
tight.
That says anything. And you record drums there too now, hey?
Yeah.
Have you done any of the Hawking stuff there, or are you doing other?
All of the forthcoming Hawking stuff is going to be done here. There's one track that we recorded already, and then there's like an entire album worth of shit that we're literally meeting. Oh, we're meeting in a few days, I think. Saul's coming over from the island
Oh,
for
killer!
the first time in oh god, it's been the pandemic. What, a year and a half?
Yeah,
So
Wow, that's
yeah,
exciting.
we're meeting. Yeah. No, it's a time right now. This is a big inflection point, that's for sure. But we're all meeting up in like 3 days to put everything together and start planning rehearsals and getting the next record together. Which that's pretty much all I could say about it for now. But
yeah.
it's sick. It's sick. I'm really excited to do drums here. We did the drums for the one track, and it's just like, yeah, I don't want to fucking have to be looking at my watch for
Yeah,
like, I want to try
yeah.
that fill. Like, I want to go to the end of the session and like just go to the click and like loop, you know, try the fill over and over again and like improvise and be like, oh, like, I didn't mean to do that, but that was tight. Let's slot that in. That's how the Hawking EP was made.
Right.
I played half the drums on the Hawking EP. Me and Chart would hop back on and off the kit just like at leisure. Like, he'd have an idea and hop on, and it was lucky, like, we kind of played the same, but even he would hit a little quieter than I did at the time, because I had no technique, so I just whacked the shit out of everything. But he hit a little quieter than I did at the time, and all I would do is clip gain stuff up. Like, it literally flows directly from Chart doing a fill into me doing a beat, into me doing a fill, into Chart doing a beat. And there's no, I don't think anybody's noticed.
No, it's so fluid. You wouldn't notice. I think it was either Brayson or Austin. I think it might have been Brayson, where Brayson told me, he's like, oh yeah, Tom does a lot of the drums of the hawking stuff. I was like, wait, what? Like, I didn't even know you played for the longest time. And now you started to post more on socials and stuff. I mean, you got chops, bro.
Thank you.
I can see why it was so fluid. I mean,
that's cool to hear. I literally don't know. You know? I've been trying to harness, like, reel in technique and all of that and get my fucking wrists not, because I'm gonna get fucking carpal tunnel and it's not gonna be good if I don't
get
do
that French technique going, that French grip.
For real. I've been watching like French grip videos, like, oh man, my left back fingers, man, are just zombies. So yeah. Anyways, that's as technical as we need to get with drums.
Yeah.
So are you using that space to record other people, or is it just for
I'm starting to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were here when I recorded
Riley's
that's
true.
screams for
Yeah, but Riley's a friend, right? He's like,
yeah, exactly,
he's a
right?
homie.
Yeah, so that's like doing it for a friend. And even back, it's funny, I actually just got a message yesterday from my friend from high school, who I recorded his EP or album. It's like 6 or 7 tracks when this place was like insulation,
Right.
you know, shit. Like when I didn't know what I was doing, like it was like pirated everything. And I was in 12th grade. It was like the summer of 12th grade.
Oh wow.
And but no, he actually just hit me up to like ask about royalty splits, and I'm like, bro, just take it. It's like an album that I recorded when, like, with literally pirated stuff. Like it's literally illegal for me to make money off of it.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. So like Riley's a homie, right? So that made sense to record him. And it was funny, after he came in to do those screams. Well, there's a couple things about that session that were really interesting that I guess we can get into, but I'll try to keep track of myself here. But after that session, I was, like I said, I was almost like embarrassed, because I'm my own worst critic, right? Like,
of course.
I'm trying to make it very perfect.
Like
I was
that.
almost like embarrassed, because there were a couple things I've had this pair of wireless headphones, not these. I literally got these 2 days ago, because I've had the same pair of wireless headphones for like 13 years, like a really long time, and they're just jank. Like they have like my hair gel and shit from 10 years ago. Like I was like, ew. And Riley, I'm so sorry I gave you those headphones, because they were the only headphones. And I was just like, I realized as I was handing them to, and one of them was cutting out too. And he was like, I was like, just I was like, just like smack it. Like, I don't know, man. I was like, oh, like,
that's
this
when
is
you
jank.
realize you need new headphones, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's only when you have to
right?
give them to someone else, not when you use them, because you're like, yeah, whatever. But as soon as you're like, Riley, here are your headphones.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like one experience of like, oh, I actually want to be able to, have the accommodation, be better if I'm ever gonna charge money for people to be recording here, right?
Right.
But after that, I produced a track for a hip hop artist who is a friend of mine, but we don't like hang out or anything. Like, it's not Riley. Like, Riley came on tour to, but my friend Bryce, shout out to Bryce. His artist name is Neon Empty, and he is an incredible indigenous Métis artist who had one track. Most of his stuff is not political or out there with its message, but he had one track called Red Lives Don't, and it was about the Black Lives Matter movement and hypocrisy in Canada of Canadians being all outraged over situations in the States and displaying outwardly their support while not supporting clean water for Indigenous folks and things like that here, which is like a big fucking thing that I believe in and wanted to. That's a cause that I would have paid money to work on that song for Bryce.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know,
totally.
like he's like, I spent, I don't know how many hours I put into it, maybe like 20, 30, 40 hours. And he was like, let me pay you. I'm like, I would pay you. He did pay me. He paid me $100.69.
Nice.
But I was like, like, just put this back into the marketing budget. Like, get this out there. I'm literally, Bryce, if you're listening to this, I am mad at you for how little you did with that song. That message was so powerful, man.
Is
and
it? It's out, right?
Sorry?
It's out, right?
Oh yeah, it's out. And
okay, you should
you know,
definitely link us after this, and we'll put it in the.
I can link you that shit. It is a powerful track, man, and it was right up my alley in terms of the beat. The beat wasn't mine. The beat was made by this dude in Italy. So I got that, and it was like all these Arab, sort of Middle Eastern, what do you call, intervals,
right?
And I was like, yeah, man, this is my vibe. This feels like, back home. And the aggression and the art. He is a brilliant wordsmith. Like, I can't say enough good things about that track. Like, I'm so mad that it didn't like shake Canada. Like, it deserved to be like front fucking page Spotify Canada. Like, are you listening?
Yeah, especially right now, like in the climate that we're in.
Yeah,
over,
and it
especially
just
over
came
Canada
out.
Day.
It just came out to largely deaf ears because, well, God, that's uncomfortable, right, for most people. So I don't blame it. It's like you can't throw enough marketing budget at people to make them be like, ooh, yeah, I did share George Floyd, and I kind of don't care about the natives. Like, people don't want to confront that in themselves.
yeah, it's definitely like a what do I want to say?
It's just
you
kind of
have
subject.
It is a touchy subject, but you kind of have to have those uncomfortable conversations.
That was uncomfortable.
That was an uncomfortable time to make such an uncomfortable. I don't know.
That's true though. You do, like, those are conversations that need to happen, and like
that's how you grow.
And through music too, like that's a great way to do it.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's through like passionate music. Like a lot of times that's the way people get their message across in a palatable way.
Yeah. And I really believed in that song. And I thought it was just palatable enough for people. But I really, especially when I look back and when I listen, I was into a lot of aggressive hip hop. It was perfect timing, like at the time that I produced that track.
Oh, I remember seeing you posting about it on Insta all the time.
Yeah. And so it was just right up my alley. And I didn't realize how, I don't think I realized how in your face it was. And now when I look back, I'm like, yeah, man, like that's political music at a time when it's hard to stomach any more than the daily political reality,
Yeah.
So I wouldn't blame anybody for for not being able to engage fully with that kind of subject matter.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, touching more on recording other people, like, do you have any other plans with other people?
Yeah, like, I mean, nothing's like booked or nothing, but yeah, I do want to. Like, I did some jazz sessions.
Oh,
and
yes,
I
you did that
realized-
with Colin and Ben.
Oh, and Ben Dunham.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, those guys. Those are motherfucker musicians right there.
They are fire ass players, man. And I did that. I'm still, again, like, I'm my own worst critic, but I'm embarrassed about those sessions because, like, I had no technique. Like, dude, those guys are just jazz, like, miles ahead of me. Haha. And I fucking no, man. Anyways, I did that jazz session, and after probably narrowly avoiding, an anxiety attack from just being like, man, I do not have the technique to keep up with these guys. After I got everything recorded and I went into the session, I was like, wait a minute. All I have to do, the only thing stopping this from being like great music is me. And that was actually the best thing to realize, because I realized, oh, the production end of this is so it's so about bringing out the musicality that is already, like, those when you have fire musicians and you put them in a room and they just go, you don't have to, like, production is, you get to spend hours tweaking like compression and automating and writing things
Yeah.
because the performance is there. You're not crossfading, you're not editing, you're not
Mhm.
like trying to get the vocals in time. You're just
Yeah.
like trying to bring out the breath, the musicality of it.
Yeah,
So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want to make more fucking jazz records. I want to make hip hop records. If anybody wants to make a jazz or hip hop record with me, what's up? I haven't said this shit publicly ever because
Well, there you go.
I
This
don't
is the
know.
place. This is a
It's a
You heard
work
it
in
here
progress,
first.
you know?
Yeah, you're plugging. So
Plug-in?
yeah, he's plugging himself.
I know. It's just
Young
plug-in.
plugger.
You're just,
Plugging.
just plugging, bro.
Oh, God.
And like
Um,
don't even I don't even want to charge you money to make a fucking record. Like I just want to
you just want to do it.
I just want dope musicians in my house.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's crazy, you know?
No.
That's totally fair. I totally get that.
Mhm.
Austin, do you feel the same way? Do you want dope musicians in your home studio, or what's going on there?
Well, I already have the last several months. Am I right?
Hey,
I'm referring to the rest of the guys because we just finished the first half of our record. But no, I think like I can definitely agree with what Tom was saying. It's just at the end of the day, you just want to work with people who make you give a fuck about what
Mhm.
you love and what you want to do. Because I think that's the biggest thing. You can record anyone and do anything, but you want to work with someone where you're like, holy shit, like you're like this song or like you as an artist is the reason why I wanted to do, you know,
Mhm.
like this and make music for people with people, you know, and just like the whole concept of musical collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just wanting to, you know, be a part of something that moves you and in many ways feels like it's bigger than you.
Yeah.
yeah,
For
that's,
real.
I love collaboration for that reason too, because like
Hell yeah.
you can make so much cool shit. And I always have this rule of thumb in the back of my head. And it's a very common thing. But there's like 3 things that are important to a session, which is the people, the music, and the money. And if at least 2 of them are there, you're golden. Right? So you can make
I've
fire.
never heard that before. That's
I haven't
nice.
heard it either. It's a good rule of 3.
Yeah, that's like the most wholesome pick 2 triangle ever.
I mean,
That's
the
what
wholesome
it's
until you get
about.
the money in there.
I mean, hey, you gotta make a buck.
I know it's you got to make the dinero.
You
That
got
sounds
it,
like
but
really
at the same
solid
time-
advice that like a 55-year-old dude would have given like 13-year-old me outside of a bar after I finished playing a set of like Johnny Cash covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, if you're in a session there, you know, you got 3 things, you get 2 of them. It's gonna be good. You're gonna be all right. Good. Take care.
I guess I'm gonna be that guy
You will be. You'll be that guy one day.
one day. Touching on inspiration, I just wanted to talk about. Well, first of all, as like a fellow band in the scene that had a similar trajectory, I've always looked at you guys with like I've drawn a lot of inspiration from you, and not just musically. I would like to touch on like the way you guys tour. You're just so focused and you're always working, and even your in-ear rig, we kind of stole your idea.
We just stole. I think we stole Periphery's in your rig. Shout out to Chris for knowing how to set all that up.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's using Ableton, right?
No, we run Logic for our live stuff.
Oh no way, for
sure.
lights too.
Yeah.
Well, Austin was thinking of getting Ableton. Would you convince him against that?
No, Ableton's tight.
Damn it.
Logic.
Now I'm
I'm
still
like-
confused.
I'm a Pro Tools guy. But
Same.
like, don't use Pro Tools live.
Oh, of
That's
course
there's
not.
just something that's like a cardinal sin. Like I'd just be too sketched out to get, you know, DAE error, go fuck yourself, right?
Or your eye lock breaks like mid show.
Yeah. But no, we use Logic. It's been tight. I don't think it's ever failed. The only thing that's ever failed is like the USB hub once. But
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. it's been solid.
What happened when the I gotta ask, what happened when the USB hub failed?
Guessing
We
everything.
were playing. We call it the Curse of Nanaimo. We played a couple shows in Nanaimo where like everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and and you're on the island, so you can't just like run home and grab like an extra fucking whatever, right? But we hang on, I gotta remember what happened. There's so many shit going wrong stories. Oh yeah, I was thinking of the Queens. But we were playing at it was like a venue that wasn't supposed to be a venue. It was like a brewing company. That the stage was like pallets that had been pushed together with like carpet over them.
Oh, great.
And
Was this White Sail?
yeah,
With Golden Shadow.
White Sails. Yeah. Damn.
That's like some hardwire shit.
Yeah,
That is some Nardwar shit.
no, I think because that correlates to how we kind of met you through Golden Shadow, and you guys did that show, and there was some sort of connection, right?
Oh shit. I didn't even know Golden Shadow had anything to do with us knowing each other. But yeah, they played that show, and that was their farewell show actually. But anyways, we got really far away from the story about the USB breaking. It's been built up like it's not that interesting. It broke, and we were like, oh fuck, and I think we just played to the lights. We couldn't hear. Like chart had no click, so we just played to like, and we didn't even have like the light rig we have now. Like we just had some bars, so it was like.
So you just played to the lights.
Yeah, we played like it was like only the last two songs of the set, but
God.
we played like the end of the set to the lights, and it worked. Like we couldn't hear the tracks really, so we don't know how out of sync it might have been out front, but everybody was fucking down, so
That's all that matters at the end of the day.
yeah.
long
But
as
no,
the
that's
crowd's
the
down.
only. It's the only, and it's failed at the Queens too, and it was much less spectacular at the Queens. It just failed at the Queens, and we went fuck, and I think we played the rest of the song, and then stopped all the shit, restarted it, and kept playing the set, and
Show goes
that's our style.
on. Right on.
I don't know.
So your light rig, Chris built that, right?
Yeah.
Would you like be able to shed some insight on how that works?
No. No, I'm kidding. Up until the last North American tour we did completely without Chris.
Oh yeah,
so
that's wild.
we had Robo Chris for that tour. We had Chris's bass in the tracks.
Yeah.
We had him do like live one takes, like mistakes and all, and put them in the tracks. That was actually sick.
That's killer.
But yeah, when we did that tour, I had to like figure out how all that shit worked, and it's pretty straightforward. It's literally like MIDI, controlling each little thing, and it gets translated to DMX, which I have no idea what that is, but I guess it's a lighting language interface protocol, whatever you'd call it.
I think he's dead.
And that's it, man. It's like Superior Drummer, but for lights. Like you could drag a Superior Drummer like MIDI
Went over his
file
head.
to your lights, and just be like, and it would fucking just have shit start going off.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, that's I don't know if you caught that.
That was
No,
quite,
I was.
quite the joke.
Oh shit.
You said something about DMX, and I was like, I think he's dead. And I think everyone heard
Oh.
Too soon, bro.
Oh no, I didn't
soon.
hear.
Anyway,
Anywho.
back on track. That North American tour you did without Chris. That was the first time you worked with a manager. Is that correct?
That was our first time having a tour manager.
Right.
Or having that was, let's call it our first time having a booking agent, because we've outsourced legs of things in the past, but this was the first time. Lucas, shout out to our agent Lucas from the Arkham agency. Lucas Charuk is like the hardest working, most down to earth dude I've ever met. and I met him on like a Western Canada tour, and he was just there selling merch. He was like he was working with a clothing brand,
Yeah.
and they were just there, like they had their table. So we got to talking at merch, and he didn't even really know like what was up with Hawking. Like he just knew we were one of the bands on the package. And then when he saw us, he sort of hit us up and was like, "Yo, like I'm trying to do." It was crazy. I knew Lucas actually. I had him on Facebook 10 years ago, like 8 ass years ago,
Oh yeah.
because when I was early trying to like make booking connections, he was trying to make booking connections.
Mhm.
And we were gonna help out some band from like Wisconsin, some shit. Never happened. But I had him on like Facebook, like one of these dudes you never talked to for like I don't know how many years, 7 or 8 years. And but so there was kind of that trust. Like I knew who he was, I knew about him,
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah,
about his
you know
music
his
taste
story.
and whatever.
Mhm.
And when he was on that tour, it was like, oh yeah, like you, like cool, okay, I kind of know you. What are you about? And all I saw in like the 2 days he was on there was straight fucking like hustle and like just a really thoughtful, like, genuinely caring guy. And I was like, you're the first like person in the music industry who I've been doing this since I was like 12 or 13 years old, playing in bars, talking to like old ass dudes, being like, "Yeah, we're gonna get you in the studio. We're gonna send you on tour. Get you down to Nashville. Doing. You got a bright future ahead of you." Like, it's just so much of that, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
much taking advantage, especially when you're a kid, like
Oh, totally.
14-year-old kid trying to play in bars and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I've been on that come up for so long that when I met Lucas, it was like he just had that fire that I remember having at like 13 years
Oh
old,
yeah.
being like, I'm gonna email all these people who have no business emailing, and for all they know, I'm 22 and my band fucking rules. And little do they know, I don't have a band. It's me and an acoustic guitar, but I'm trying to get stage experience. I'm fucking 14, right? Like, but
Yeah.
no, Lucas just had that hustle. And I was like, man, and you know what he had? He was willing to be way more annoying than I was ever willing to be.
Oh yeah.
I was way too like self-conscious. Like, even as a booking agent myself, like when I look back on my work and when I see how Lucas was with us, I'm like, oh dude, like he would email someone and they wouldn't get back, and like he'd email them like 6 hours later being like, yo, I really need to know. And then email them another 6 hours later like, hey, did you get that last email? And I was like, damn, when you're on tour and everything is, you really have to have it tight like that. And like he was doing our day sheets. Like he was just the first guy who I was like, you're more organized than us.
That's really
Shit,
cool.
We need that.
Yeah.
Everyone needs
I mean,
tourists. I do believe that.
We have
I
a
mean-
Luke. I feel like that's like kind
That's
of what our Luke
Close
does.
enough. He's a bit stranger. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what Lucas is like.
He's chill. He's a humble dude. He's a fellow Slav.
Oh, great. You just
Yeah.
put that right in. So I think we're close to wrapping up. I know you had a list of things that you wanted to ask. Is there something you want to touch on?
No, not really. I just had this shit so I could fall back on. Oh, dude. No, actually, no. Miles, I do want to ask you this. Did you get to check out the music scene in Amsterdam when you were there? Because you did what, like an exchange semester
yeah,
there?
I was there
And
for 6 months.
I missed you by like 3 days.
No way.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
you messaged me on Instagram, and you were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going over there in a little bit." And you were going just after me. So I didn't check it out a ton. I went to this one spot a couple of times, and one time I went, there was a band touring from Luxembourg,
Cool.
and they were called District 7, I think they were called. And it was crazy. Like it was like I was looking at us, but in Amsterdam. Like they were doing the same thing. I went up to them after the show, shook their hands, helped them load out their gear, and like I literally did everything. I was like, this is crazy that I'm here and helping these guys out. So it's very DJ centric in Amsterdam. So it's very like electronic heavy. They kind of like reggaeton as well, like that kind of boom.
Yeah.
Boom. They really like that stuff.
Yeah,
there
the
too.
Traceyos and shit. Yeah.
But in terms of like, and then there's just like there's like some buskers and stuff. But it's a very DJ centric music scene. But that band I saw, I still connect with them, still chat with them. So that one spot, I can't remember what the venue was called, but it was super cool. And then the thing is with Amsterdam is there's always festivals happening. So like every weekend there'd be like a beach festival here, or like
I was there when Wuha was on. And I was gonna try to get tickets, and then it just ended up being expensive and like not working out. But
yeah,
I actually tried to be in Amsterdam during it was a big hip hop festival.
Yeah, it's a great vibe. And then I was there for King's Day, which is like their big celebration. And then so basically it's like you'll have a rapper performing on one corner, you go and you walk a little bit, there's people everywhere, and then there's a DJ playing house music here, then you walk a little bit further and there's like, oh, like reggaeton, like over here everyone's fucking dancing, going crazy. I mean, it's endless. Like there's just so many different elements to that music scene. But it was really cool. It was very diverse, as Amsterdam is, as I'm sure you saw.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so not only did I see, but like I probably follow at this point the Dutch and like Russian post-Soviet music scenes, because I'm Dutch and Ukrainian.
Yeah.
And the French music scene. Like just Western Europe broadly. I'm not as interested in like Germany, but what's happening in France and the Netherlands and Belgium, and all the way down into like Africa, Morocco, a lot of like Spanish artists, and like the post-Soviet stuff. I probably follow those scenes much more closely than I do like the Canadian scene at this point.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I find them way more interesting.
I mean, and that's true. It's more diverse. I feel like you get a wider range of music, because I mean, people are, you know, they're doing their music in different languages. There's a bunch of different genres. I mean, I feel like you find almost every genre over there except for like country music, to be completely honest.
Yeah, and that is a uniquely American art form, I guess.
Exactly.
So that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's super interesting to me, because I follow like a lot of Dutch hip hop labels. And like I said, I was trying to be there during a big hip hop festival, and I'm just very interested in the scene there, especially hip hop, especially not so much like you said DJ stuff, but that it's DJ stuff is more interesting there. Like DJ is not a bad word.
Oh God, no. It's incredible to watch. Like,
and not only that, but if you're a rapper, this is one of the first things that fascinated me about that music scene, and also Russia has this with like hard bass. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's just normal over there. But yeah, like you said, like all these different influences come into the DJing there.
Yeah, definitely.
In a way that feels so much more like it's not. It feels more true to the original influence. Certainly truer than what you find in like Vancouver.
Oh, definitely.
And I think there's really straightforward like economic, social reasons for that, i.e. no one really interesting can afford to take really interesting risks.
Yeah, and that's true. And
In
it's
a
just a
place like
cultural
Vancouver.
thing over there. Like it's just like
That
that's
as
the
well.
vibe. It's just like, okay, like there's a lot of DJs. There are a lot of hip hop artists too. Like there was this one song I played in the club all the time. I can't remember what the word is, but it's like the, and it just did that over and over again. It's like engraved in my brain. Don't know what the actual word is, but yeah, I think it's a big cultural thing where it's like, because like you said, when you said DJ is like a bad word, I feel like a lot of people. I feel like the stigma is hopefully going away, but people
Lately,
do consider that to
thankfully.
be a bad word here, and it's like, yo, these people are making magic. come out.
Yeah, and I get it, especially if you haven't looked too deeply into what DJing is.
Yeah.
Because if you know DJ Pauly D, then you think DJs are all fuckfaces, right? If you were around for that era of like LMFAO and 303 and like party rock, what the fuck was happening?
That's a good point.
Those are guilty pleasure songs for me, for sure.
Yeah. LMFAO for sure. Not 303.
I feel like
Trust
Don't
Me?
Trust a Hoe is like, yeah.
Great song.
I don't know. It's something about the it doesn't matter.
No, it
It's
doesn't
a band
matter,
called
but-
LMFAO. It's
But I think there's also like PTSD in like when you're a band, when you hear the word DJ, you're like, that means I have to get all my stuff off stage.
Oh,
yeah. You know, like
My man.
that's
Shout out to Upstairs Cabaret in Victoria for like literally yelling like militantly, like, get your fucking shit up. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's funny.
They to be fair, they apologized. The owner apologized after that. But no, speaking of fucking DJs coming out, that was when we first had built the super rig, and it was really heavy, man. We had our in-ear rig and everything. It was really fucking heavy, and that place has like just super steep stairs that they wanted us to load out down, and then the tolerable stairs, but those were the stairs for the guests. So they were like, you got to load down the asshole stairs. So we're like, we're gonna not do that. So we're loading out by like, club people dressed up and shit. And so anyways, yeah, I do feel the PTSD, especially for a touring band for that.
Yeah. Well, I guess that about wraps it up.
I think that's a good place to wrap DJ PTSD.
It's
Solid,
related.
man.
It is.
We all feel it.
it's a brand new acronym.
Anyway, yeah, that was BandChat. Tom,
Wait, hold
if you
on.
could.
Wait, sorry.
What?
I was going to say, Tom, where can people
Yo.
find you?
That's literally what I was about to say.
Fight.
You want to fight?
Y'all better edit this for brevity now. Ain't nobody gonna listen to that.
I'm sorry, Brayson.
That's
you
fine.
Go again?
Fight again.
Tom,
Uh,
where can people find you?
the internet, man. Tom Vanderkam is my handle on everything. If you can spell my Dutch ass name. Do you guys put like graphics on your screen? Do you put
Yeah.
You're gonna throw my at up there? Cool. Okay. So
It'll
Just
be
for
there.
you.
people could spell my name, and I play in that metal band Hawking that y'all are free to check out. We got shit coming soon, and yeah, I don't know. I've been laying pretty low lately, man. So y'all can find me where you find me, and you'll definitely see more from Hawking
Yeah,
coming soon.
very excited to see the new stuff because it's been a few years for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's been a real snake in the grass period for us. So this has been sort of the first public appearance for any reason whatsoever that I've been asked to do. So
Well, I feel
thanks
honored.
for having me on to just like shoot the shit. It's nice to not really have like a record to plug, you know.
Oh yeah, just chatting. I mean, it's kind of something that we wanted to talk to you for a while, since like March, I remember. And here we are. We did it.
Sweet.
We did
I'm
it.
happy,
Great
man.
chat.
We made an episode.
Thanks for everybody tuning in.
Thank you for joining us, and thanks for tuning in to all our audience members. Enjoy your evening.
Or
Bye.
Bye.
We can dance to the sound of the come on.